You're not a spreadsheet, you're a person, a screwed up emotional person. It took me a while to figure this out, but once it clicked, I realized it's one of the most important parts of finance. With outcomes, something that often goes overlooked. And to just be pretty reasonable. Reasonable is more realistic, and you have a better chance of sticking with it for the long run, which is what matters most when managing money. I visualize my grief if the stock market went way up and I wasn't in it, or if it went way down and I was completely in it. My intention was to minimize my future regret, so I split my contributions 50-50 between bonds and equities. Day trading and picking individual stocks is not rational for most investors. The odds are heavily against your success. Josh Brown, who advocates and mostly owns diversified funds, once explained why he also owns and is managing individual stocks. I'm not buying individual stocks because I think I'm going to generate alpha. I just love stocks and have ever since I was 20 years old. And it's my money, I get to whatever, quite reasonable. Acting on investment forecast is dangerous, but I get why people try to predict what will happen next year. It's a human nature. It's reasonable. Jack Bogle, a late founder of Vanguard, spent his career on a cruise ship and promoted low-cost passive investing. Things that have never happened before happen all the time. The correct reason to learn from surprises is that the world is surprising, not that we should use past surprises as a guide on future boundaries. That we should use past surprises as an admission that we have no idea what might happen next. There is never a moment when you're so right that you can bet every chip in front of you. The world isn't the kind of anyone, not consistently anyways. You have to give yourself room for error. You have to plan on your plan not going according to plan. The wisdom in having room for error is acknowledging that uncertainty, randomness, and chance, unknowns, are an ever-present part of life. The only way to deal with them is by increasing the gap between what you think will happen and what can happen, while still leaving you capable of fighting another day. Margin of safety, you can also call it room for error or redundancy, is the only effective way to satisfy navigate a world that is governed by odds, not certainties. And almost everything related to money is in the kind of world. The best we can do is to think about odds. Graham's margin of safety is a simple suggestion that we don't need to view the world in front of us in a black or white, predictable crapshoot. The gray area pursuing things where a range of potential outcomes is acceptable is the smart way to proceed. We can't know for sure, and it speaks on the probability. Room for error lets you endure a range of potential outcomes, and the endurance lets you stick around long enough to let the odds of benefiting from low probability outcome fall in your favor. Bill Gates understood this well. When Microsoft is a young company, he said he came up with this incredibly conservative approach that I wanted to have enough money in the bank to pay years of worth in payroll, even if we didn't get any payments coming in. One is the volatility. Can you survive if your assets decline by 30%? On a spreadsheet, maybe yes. In terms of actually paying your bills and staying cash flow positive. But what about mentally? It is easy to underestimate about a 30% decline to your psyche. Your confidence may become shoot. At the very moment opportunity is in its highest, you or your spouse may decide it's time for a new plan or a new career. I know several bosses who quit after losses because they were exhausted, physically exhausted. Spreadsheets are good at telling you when the numbers do and don't add up. They're not good at modeling how you will feel when you talk your kids and night wondering if the investment decisions you made were a mistake that will hurt their future. Having a gap between what you can technically endure versus what's emotionally possible is an overlooked portion of balloon for error. It's a reasonable force approximations to use that is an estimate of what to expect on your own diversified portfolio when saving for retirement. You can use those return assumptions to divide into the amount of money you will need to save each month and achieve your target nest egg. The answer to those what ifs is you won't be able to retire like you once predicted, which can be a disaster. Leverage is a double here, leveraging and taking a debt to make your money go further. Pushes routine risk into something capable of producing ruin. The danger is that rational optimism most of the time makes mass. The odds of ruin some of the time mass. Or mass. The result is we systemically underestimate risk. Room for error does more than just widen the target around what you think might happen. It also helps to protect you from things that you never imagined, which can be the most troublesome events we face. Avoiding these kinds of unknown risk is almost definition impossible. You can't prepare for what you can envision. I save a lot and I have no idea what I will use the savings for in the future. Few financial plans and they only prepare for known risks and have enough or more than enough saved to survive the real world. But don't underestimate how much their personalities, desires, or goals are like to change in the future. We tend to never learn this lesson. Gilbert's research shows that people from ages 18 to 68 underestimate how much they will change in the future. I know. Warren Buffett became successful because they kept doing the same thing for decades on end, letting compounding run wild. But many of us evolve in so much over lifetime that we don't want to keep doing the same thing for decades on end. I know young people who purposefully live elsewhere, lives with a little income and they are perfectly happy with it. Then there are those who work their tails off to pay for a life of luxury and they're perfectly happy with that. Both have a reason. The former reason is being unprepared to raise a family or fund retirement. The latter reason regret that you spent your useful and the healthy years in the cubicle. Rigorous and especially painful when you abandon a previous plan and feel like you have run in the other direction towards it faster than the makeup for lost time. Compounding works best when you can give up 10 years and decades to grow. This is true for not only saving, but careers and relationships. Endurance is key. And when you consider your tendency to change who we are over time, balance in every point in your life becomes a strategy to avoid future regret and encourage endurance. Aiming at every point in your working life to have a moderate annual savings, moderate free time, and no more than a moderate commute, and at least moderate time with your family increases in odds of being able to stick within a plan and avoid regret that if anyone of those things fall to the extreme sides of the spectrum. The trick is to accept the reality of change and move on as soon as possible. It's like a villain, a stranger making major life decisions for you. Embracing the idea that financial goals are made when you are a different person, should be abandoned without mercy. Versus to put the life in a suffering drag down, it can be a good strategy to minimize your future regret. The quicker it's done, the sooner you can get back to compounding. Next, let's talk about compounding to the price of admission. What is this? Nothing's free. Okay, every job looks easy when you're not the one doing it. Yeah, when you're not the one doing it. Most things are harder in practice than they're in theory. Sometimes this is because we are overconfident. More often it's because we are not good at identifying what the price of success is, which prevents us from being able to pay it. All you have to do was sit back and let your money compound. But of course, a successful investment looks easy when you're not the one doing it. Hold steady for the long run. You'll hear it's good advice. But do you know how hard it is to maintain long-term outlook when stocks are collapsing? Like everything else in a worthwhile, successful investing demands a price. But its currency is not dollars and cents. It's volatility, fear, doubt, uncertainty, and regret, all of which are still overlooked until you're dealing with them in real time. This is the price of market returns. It's the fee. It is the cost of admission. It's hurt. Individual investors fall for this when making their own investments too. The results of buying and selling when they shouldn't have and just bought and held. The question is, why do so many people who are willing to pay a price for cars, houses, food, and vacations try so hard to avoid paying the price for investment returns? The answer is simple. The price of investing in success is not immediately obvious. It sounds trivial, but thinking of market volatility as fee rather than fine is an important part of developing the kind of mindset that lets you stick around long enough for investing gains to work in your favor. Market returns are never free and never will be. They demand you pay a price. Like any other product, you are not forced to pay this fee. Same with the markets, the volatility or uncertainty fee. The price of returns is the cost. Admission to get returns together. The low fee works like in cash and bonds. The trick is in convincing yourself that the market fee isn't worth it. That's the only way to properly deal with the volatility and uncertainty, not just in putting up with it, but realizing that it's an admission fee worth paying. Okay.